Hello, everybody. Today we're going to be looking at a scenario where America goes away from its peaceful, I mean, not really peaceful, but like NATO stuff, and becomes an expansionist, imperialist country who wants to form an empire, like the UK. So, yeah, we're going to color in America with red for most of the episode, unsurprisingly. And yeah, they're going to be expanding quite a lot. Here we are, there's America in red, and they are going to be starting in North America, starting with the country that they love to invade, Cuba. America is sick and tired of a communist regime less than 100 kilometers from their coastline. And yeah, they're gonna they're gonna change it. American forces land and they absolutely swarm the country. As I don't know, but yeah. So they put in a democratic election with no communist parties allowed. So yeah, actually, no, wait. Why are they gonna do that? They're gonna become part of the U.S. They're gonna be a new state. So it's Puerto Rico. So 50 states in here. So 48, 49, 50, 51, 52. 52 U.S. states. Lovely jubbly. Okay, but the U.S. isn't done. They are going to be sorting out Haiti. And I'm sorry, that Haiti's not really going to put much resistance. So this is going to be 53 states. They're also going to just simply annex the Bahamas, and they're going to buy the Turks and Caicos Islands from the UK. Very cool. So America's got a 54th state now. We're going to be counting this the whole time. America goes over to Central America, and they have a few bones to pick with some of these countries, especially Nicaragua. I've heard recently that they don't like Nicaragua at all. I don't know why that is. I don't really follow Nicaraguan politics or anything. But yeah, American forces once again are going to absolutely demolish them. Like, there's no fighting here. And no surprise, Nicaragua is completely annexed into the American empire. America's not done in South America, though. Not even slightly. Now they're going to be attacking Venezuela. Because in this scenario, we're going to imagine that they haven't done the Maduro thing, so they're just going to get it over with because now they're expansionists, whatever. American naval forces going to amass around Haiti, Guantanamo Bay, Puerto Rico, and then they're going to move down here to Aruba and Kralendijk and whatever, Curacao. They're all going to come down here, and then they are going to launch a few naval invasions because they're actually going to invade it. So they can do one over here in Lake Maracaibo. And where is Caracas? There we go. Okay, we're going to keep this layer on. And two outside Caracas, and they encircle and capture the city. The entire western part of Venezuela has fallen, including Punto Fijo and Barinas. They also make a landing from Trinidad and Tobago into the eastern areas, capturing these three major cities. Venezuelan forces get absolutely pushed back, and once they reach this line down here, the Venezuelan government decides to surrender, where they will face full annexation by the United States of America. 54th state. Or maybe we'll make other, I don't know. Venezuela we're going to say is a state. The 55th. Very beautiful, but we're not done yet, because Big Sam's still hungry, so we're going to go over here, where we have a very swift annexation of Panama. Panama was... Oh, no, that's not Panama. Panama. And Panama, America's like, well, yeah, you're in between, so we want to connect you guys up. So this is 56 states. So you're going to need more and more stars on that flag. Lovely. But they're not done yet. America is going to be shifting their focus a bit more northwards to Greenland. But there is no NATO because this would have not happened. So it's just America versus Greenland and Denmark, because Denmark is so great. Lovely. There we go. Yep. So America is going to be, if you haven't heard recently and you live under a rock, you may not. You may be thinking, why are they attacking Greenland? But if you don't live under a rock, like most people, you would have heard that America has been saying a lot of things about how they want to get Greenland, especially even saying we're not going to rule it out militarily, which is quite a big statement. Like, they're your ally technically, so. But no, Trump wants it, so they're going to land and they're going to absolutely destroy it. Easy as that. Peace treaty when we see Greenland becoming a full part of the USA and Denmark returning to normality. But they're not done. They're really not done. As we see America declaring war on the nation of Canada, or Canada. If you know what, if nobody says that, because why would you call it Canada? Anyway, that's not the point. America's feeling kind of confident, pardon the pun. So they're going to be attacking Mexico as well to sort out the DRUGS problems. Yes. While they're at it, they're also going to attack the Central American countries as they claim they need stability. Typical American things. Lovely. This is way too big of a brush to do this. Hopefully we have the cities on here. Oh, only Toronto. Okay, it doesn't matter. I'll keep it on anyway. American forces are going to be a majority in this area as they push into the Gaspé Peninsula and take over, all of Nova Scotia and that random island over there. They also send forces in from Alaska. Not many. This is only like 15,000 forces. You just mainly move across northern Canada to make sure it's all occupied. They do a pretty good job taking all of this land here. Maybe rise up to 30,000 max. Only use some like Inuit resistance and stuff because that's the only people that live here. American forces also move in from the south and they split off British Columbia, who gets destroyed as well as Vancouver. Welcome to the US. They move into Alberta, capture Calgary, and it's really not going too good for Canada. However, they are going to make one small counterattack, moving back to this really weird West Virginia looking lake in, maybe that's just me, but in Canada. Keep moving in. Now they're even going to move into this peninsula around Toronto, and they're going to move straight up and capture Ottawa. Once they capture Toronto, they capture Montreal and Quebec, and from here it's looking pretty inevitable who's going to win this war. No, I'm joking. America. So yeah, they move in, and then Canada basically surrenders, but we're just going to leave it like that. They also capture St. John, just as a last thing. They land in Labrador, whatever. And a few other things here in... And there we go, that's it. America's got all the land they need from Canada, all the populated land. Anyway, now it's going to be a lot harder in Central America with the harder terrain, I'd say. American forces immediately move into this gap, which is probably what they do in real life anyway. They move in circle and capture Tijuana in northern Baja. They move down the peninsula and Cabo Falls as well, because it's not really a town designed for war. It's like a resort town. They move down the west Mexican coast and keep advancing inwards. They go near Ciudad Juarez. They capture the city. And a huge front starts moving inwards, approaching the city of Monterrey from all sides. Monterrey falls, and Mexico's northern front is almost done. Troops from the south also move in, absolutely steamrolling these guys. However, the Yucatan rainforest proves to be a challenge for them as they capture the coast, but they can't penetrate really that deep until they do eventually, though. And now we have a double front into Mexico. I think we all know how this is going to go. A lot of resistance around Mexico City, Acapulco, Guadalajara, Monterrey. But so slowly they're going to fall apart until it's just these two left, Guadalajara and now Mexico City, who eventually falls. And yes, we will be seeing the complete and utter annexation of all of this land. They have just created a North American hegemony. Lovely. Here we are, the Zanu American Empire. And it's looking quite large, if you'd say. We're going to put Washington, D.C. on the regular map. Lovely jubbly. America isn't quite done, though. They are going to be moving across the world after they finish off Latin America. And quite surprisingly, they declare war on Colombia. Colombia's like, what? Why? America's like, drugs, get them out. Yeah. Colombia doesn't stand much chance, so they get completely steamrolled. And guess what? Annexation. Yeah. Colombia didn't stand a chance. I'm sorry. You may think they did, but I personally think America, if they had their entire military mobilized as well as conscription, wouldn't really face that much of a threat from Colombia. Personally. Very cool. They've got a lot of oil in this country, so nice. America is now going to move across the world and try to set up their own colonies. Number 1, the Philippines. They're going back. A sad day for the Philippines, but America's back. Basically. Same with all these Pacific islands like Palau and whatever, but nobody really cares about them. It's only the Philippines. American forces land in the north of the Philippines. Philippines tries their best to resist, but it's not enough, I would say. They'd need a lot. You're going to be getting all these islands over here. Vanuatu. Solomons. I'd say Bougainville because it would be independent by then. Fiji or Fiji. I don't know whoever says Fiji. That's Vanuatu. No, New Caledonia. Very cool. A lot of useless, pointless Pacific islands have just been annexed into the new American Empire. Now they stretch on both sides of the map. But we're not quite finished yet, are we? America now moves into Europe. Lovely, great. First stop, Iceland. I mean, like, are we being for real? That it's not gonna last. They don't even have a military, so they would not do anything at all. But yeah, this is a quite scary looking country, if you'd say so. But now, though, America is going to simply do some consolidation in the continent, making sure that they own all the land, taking over all of these islands here. The European ones, they're going to buy them or annex them. And some of the others, they're going to occupy them. So, yeah, welcome Dominican Republic. And, yeah, that's very cool. America has gained a lot of hate from South America and even countries like France who are worried about American expansionism and create the new anti-American pact. It's the South American pact, we're gonna call it. So, guess who's in it? South America. I know it's shocking. Who would have thought South America would have been in the South American pact? I know. No one. Anyway, this is what we have. America here. They've got a nice little colonial empire, but it's little. They need a bit more. So America is going to be taking a little trip over to Africa and doing a good old deja vu reunion with Liberia. Yeah, welcome. They annexed Liberia just like that. And now they're preparing to move into Europe. Europe's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Where we see Spain, Portugal, France, the UK, Germany, Netherlands. Even have Russia joining an alliance against them. It's our anti-American alliance, everybody. Very cool. Microstates as well, because I wouldn't be surprised if they got annexed by this point. So yeah, and you may have noticed one country other than Switzerland that hasn't joined this, and that is for a pretty good reason. Boom. Ireland joins America's team, and world's like, why? And America's like, well, you're basically like us, basically like most of our population, so. And America is gonna go to Ireland saying, hey, do you want to like control Europe together? Ireland's like, yeah, of course. That sounds fun. In an Irish accent, of course, but then, yeah, they're gonna go and do that. Very nice. So yeah, we're going to see. Oh my days. Ireland declaring war on the United Kingdom, officially starting World War III. Booyaka. And guess who else is on it? China. Hi, China. And even Japan joins China's team. They're scared of this new America. North Korea, South Korea, Taiwan, Japan. Very cool. And Iran. Can't forget Iran. As well as Pakistan. Because, yeah, Pakistan. Very cool. This is an anti-American alliance. Quite a large one. We also see some territories in Africa. Who are against imperialism. And they're like, get out. So they all join against as well. Let's see who is going to win this amazing looking, lovely, jubbly war. First of all, in South America, in Africa, we see American forces move into these areas until eventually the Americans are like, get kicked out of Africa, which is quite a bad loss, but all these countries sending their entire armies over are able to capture Liberia. America's like, I don't really need Liberia anyway, it's just a fun reunion. American forces are mainly stationed in the Americas though, capturing Ecuador and northern Peru within a week. They move in slowly into western Brazil, but mainly focus on the Guyanas, and then move into the edge northern Brazilian coast like so. Obviously, this is quite a big roadblock here, so America's going to have to go the other way. Anyway, Irish forces are able to capture all of Northern Ireland and begin rebellions, funny rebellions in Scotland, Wales, Cornwall, etc. The UK's like, what the and then all the troops from Europe are going to come over, and then They're going to fight Ireland. They're going to help push back here. And they're even going to stop the Scottish from advancing. However, the Irish are still going to maintain control of their island, as well as the Isle of Man. It's beautiful. Anyway, we see American naval forces having a quick trip over to the Canaries and the Azores and Madeira, capturing all of them. Very nice. American naval forces are going to go around here and make a landing in the populated areas of Brazil, making a landing out here and moving around to try and encircle Rio de Janeiro. However, it's a lot harder than they thought, as this is the heartland of Brazil, so it has most of the troops from Brazil fighting here, as well as in the jungle. Meanwhile, in Asia, we see Chinese forces land in and retake all of the Philippines, as America's navy is having to spread over here to fight South America. In Europe, because Europe's navy might actually be equivalent or just slightly less than America if all of them were together, and China's is about the same, so America is going to start falling back a bit. Forces are going to be able to take over loads of these Pacific islands, and America isn't having so great of a front right now. Half of the Chinese army and all of Iran, Pakistan, Russia over there is flooding into Europe. Meanwhile, the other half is going over and making naval landings, even landing in Hawaii, capturing it as well. With the Russians and Chinese also landing in Alaska. This is the first landing in mainland North America, and it goes pretty successful until they reach roughly over here, and then the invasion stops just like that, as American forces are flooding up north. Meanwhile, they're going to continue to advance into South America. However, once military aid arrives and conscription and nationalism rises in all these countries, it's quite hard to fight back, honestly. We even have some nations uniting together, such as Bolivia and Paraguay, Chile and Bolivia, Peru, Bolivia, Chile, Paraguay. Very cool. And of course, what used to be Ecuador will join the Union. American forces continue to advance though. However, they are slowing down as they reach the proper Amazon now. They continue to try and move along the Brazilian coast. However, once Chinese forces arrive in South America, it's not going to go too good for America as Chinese forces begin to push back. Something like this. Americans are beginning to revolt against this authoritarian Trump-advanced fascist dictatorship which they've created. And the people no longer want to fight for the country. And now, this is what our front looks like. Americans are doing pretty well. And then they make a naval landing in France, which goes actually fairly well. However, it goes pretty poor in Spain as the northern mountains are helping protect them. However, in France, they advance quite fast, moving towards the Alps. So we look something like this. But the entire army of Europe arrives, and America gets pushed back. Their forces are beginning to desert them. Then all of a sudden, they recapture Ireland and switch over the government. This is going to be a slow but painful task, as now American forces are going to be kicked off the Azores, and loads of European navies and things are going to flood down into South America to help liberate, and they do just that, liberating most of Brazil and all of Argentina down here. American rebels are beginning to pop up. I know in quite a lot of these videos I make them seem strong and then they just revel. But yeah, trying to be realistic. We have loads of rebels popping up in Mexico as well. Central America, Colombia, Venezuela. All of these guys. Yeah, anyway. Whoa. It's not looking good for America. They're trying to fight back, but the protests are spreading all throughout the country. They're being more organized as now they are able to capture Colombia, Venezuela, and they push up to Central America. Their own armies are beginning to desert them and join the protesters, so from here it's not looking too good. The Trump is assassinated, and the American front gets completely pushed back. All these Pacific islands get captured and reliberated. And finally, America is going to do some horrible Iranian-style things to the protesters, pushing them back completely in loads of areas. However, some areas cannot be pushed back, especially down here in Florida, Texas, and near the capital area, Chicago as well, New York and Boston. And they're starting to advance pretty quickly, even now capturing Washington, D.C., and executing the entire government. I know. Lovely. Anyway, they continue to advance up north, moving in, connecting to all the protests. And eventually, though, America is going to collapse into anarchy. And then they will be partitioned and divided. If you want to watch the peace treaty, have a look. Let's look at the peace treaty. So this may not look completely accurate, but this is my best attempt at drawing Texas from my memory. So we got that down here. You've got a sort of Confederate states, but not Confederate states. The South states forming with Virginia in it. There, don't worry. I think it's like that. It's gonna be something like that. You're gonna have. This probably has a name. I don't know. I know it, but I can't think of it. And then the Great Lakes are gonna break away. Actually, maybe not. No. Have the Midwest Republic and then the American states. Yeah, this is what we're going to have a peace treaty. Hawaii becomes its own thing. Alaska is annexed into Canada. Puerto Rico becomes its own country. Mexico will gain some authority over these two countries. Florida becomes its own country. The South States of America become their own country. This is a new, America. This is North America. The northern states, the southern states, the Midwest Republic, New England. Very cool. That's America. And all these states, the other states can choose what they want to do. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, subscribe. See you in the next one. Goodbye.